Red Strings Club is a narrative game developed by indie studio Deconstruct Team. Its themes of artificial intelligence, surveillance, and the concept of humanity bring it deep into cyberpunk territory, and before I talk about the game proper, I want to unpack its genre a little bit. So cyberpunk is a common genre in games. Everything from Deus Ex to Shadowrun uses its themes in some form, but cyberpunk games seem to have this weird disconnect with the way the genre is represented in other mediums such as films or books. While I wouldn't call it technophobic, cyberpunk tends to be about assessing the impact of technology on humanity for better or for worse. But in games, it's more like, wouldn't it be cool to hack stuff? Wouldn't it be cool to get augmentations so you can punch people in the face, but like really hard? This is definitely a reductive way of assessing cyberpunk games, but somewhere in between upgrading your laser gun and hacking your 25th area defense drone, the questions being asked aren't where is technology going, it is more like how can technology be used to turn you into the most badass dude possible? And then there's the Red Strings Club. My first impression of the game is that it's really quiet, both visually and orally. There's a lot of neon, but the muted pixel art style is calming and easy to look at. The music is fantastic, and at least in the beginning, relaxes you. The majority of the game takes place in a bar, and the character you spend the most time as is Donovan, a bartender/information broker. Donovan is at a disadvantage in a universe where giant corporations rule the world, and everyone worth their salt has some kind of augmentation to help them do life better. Donovan's body rejects implants, and so he makes drinks and trades information the old-fashioned way, with his hands and face-to-face. The Red Strings Club is not interested in being the big, explosion-filled action title which usually bears the cyberpunk tag. Instead, this game is a preoccupation with doing things manually. This footage is from an early scene in the game, where you play as an android making surgical augmentations designed to improve the life of clients. Any other game would turn this into a fast-paced hacking minigame, or at the very least distill it into a bunch of quick menus, but this game? It's a pottery simulator. Over the course of the sequence, the player needs to physically make each and every augmentation by hand. Even the buttons on the device are manual, you need to physically move your character's finger upwards to push them. Once you get to the bar, the ethos is exactly the same. The game's key mechanic is to have Donovan make drinks which manipulate the moods of his clients, so that when he asks them for information, they'll be ready to give it. To make a drink, you need to physically pick up a bottle, tilt it to pour the liquid into the cup, and mix the spirits together to match the drink to the customer's preference. It is extremely freeform, and players will be clumsy on their first try, and there's no undo button either. Just pour some alcohol out, or add more spirits to move the circle in a different direction. Serve the drink to your customer and they'll start opening up to you. This unfolds in a conventional visual novel format, with choices throughout. The challenge is getting the customer in the right mood while asking the right questions, so that you find out more about the overarching story. The gist is that there's an enormous tech company who are rumored to be pushing a software that regulates human emotions so that they don't reach extremes. On top of this ethical dilemma is the appearance of Akara androids, robots installed with complex AI that can learn human-like qualities of problem-solving and empathy. In opposition to the company is a militant organization called Proxima, which hates augmentations and wants to halt the progress of transhumanism before it goes too far. As Donovan, you act as the bridge between these two warring factions, and as the player, you get to make the call on what is right and what is wrong. The story and writing are phenomenal, and they're filled with believable characters who have believable relationships with each other. Every single choice carries weight, and the game has lots of clever ways to make this clear to the player. This leads straight into my absolute favorite mechanic. After each client leaves, your Akara droid takes the information it learned from the interaction and poses it to you as a game. She will ask you questions without an easy answer, and you have to guess your answers based off what you found out about the person you just talked to. Most of these questions had me floored the first time I saw them, and I genuinely needed time to stop and think about my responses. Deconstruct team achieved something that only the most remarkable visual novel writers are able to do. They use words, pictures, and choices to impact the player in the real world. The Red Strings Club is exciting, unique, and hands down one of the most effective cyberpunk games ever made.